Folks, welcome back to Timberborn and the start of a new series. Now, the thumbnail will have given away most of the spoilers of what this series is going to be, but we are going to be playing the FrostyWhiskers, which is a new faction by, let me try and get his name completely wrong, lapantouflemagic. I suspect I have completely butchered that. So it's a faction created for the mod contest. He is also the creator of the White Claws, a faction that I've not played, but one that is notoriously difficult, I believe, or complex. Let's go with complex. I've spent about half a day playing with the FrostyWhiskers. They are very different. This is a very different game. So we're going to get stuck in a moment. I'll probably spend a chunk of this first video talking through what I've learned so far. So if you don't want to see that, maybe jump ahead a little bit. If I'm really organized, I'll try and put in either a chapter or a time code in the editing to jump you forwards to when real gameplay starts. If you're a regular viewer, I get that this might not be your kind of thing. I am going to endeavor to also run a normal series in parallel by trying to record kind of back-to-back videos. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know my content's kind of dipped off lately, so we'll see how that goes. I think this might be a shorter series. I don't know, but we'll see how we get on. So let's jump in. So you will see these guys. It's a bot-based faction, and that does throw up a lot of differences. You will see in red text, activate the tutorial. And if you're playing this for the first time, it is very definitely worth doing, but unless I'm not paying attention, there are some things that are not covered in the tutorial, which meant that at least my first 2 attempts at this faction failed. I think I've only really had maybe one and a half vaguely successful starts to this out of about 5. They're not an easy faction. I suspect there's an element that this is still being balanced because it's in development. So yeah, I'm not saying that I know perfectly how to play this at all. But yeah, so we're gonna start. I'm going to play on a relatively easy map because this faction is not that easy. I'm trying to, I think we'll go with the lakes. I think this is the map that I've been testing this on, and I want familiarity because they're not an easy faction. So we're going to go with that, and I'm going to start on easy because I want to try and showcase the faction, and I'm not saying that I'm the best Timberborn player in the world to be showcasing things, but I want to focus on learning the faction, not difficult gameplay in this. So, and I'm going to enable this tutorial. I've been through the tutorial a few times, and essentially it does guide you through the bits you need to start a successful colony. And I'm going to pause the game pretty much as soon as we get in and kind of talk through why there are key things that you need for a successful colony. So I've not played his other faction, but I think there are elements of this that are related to that, and it does make use of some of the new game mechanics in a way. So you will notice almost instantly probably the big red circle around what is our new district center. So let's name this guy. And I'm going to pause straight away now, because some of you will ask mods that are installed. 99, and not actually 99, but now some of you are as pedantic as me. Most of the mods that I have installed are the required mods. The only mod that I have added is advanced automation, and the required mods for advanced automation on top of the required mods for the faction, because I really like advanced automation. So that's the only mod that I've added on top of the required mods. And I've kept the mods really minimal because I don't want to screw up how the mod that I'm focused on works. Okay. So we have a tutorial. And there is a story bit about Awaken Controller 1 or Controller. Reactor is failing, fuel supply critical, self-destruction engaged, releasing emergency drones. Thawing survivors 31,147 remaining. Base cannibalization allowed. Mission. Transfer essential infrastructure outside. So this is going to blow up in 12 days. We need to set ourselves up to survive at that point. The beavers can live in here up until that point. And we start off with 6 bots. And this bunker is releasing beavers while it's functional. We start off with 3 beavers, and we've currently got 3 beavers, but we will get more as we go through while this thing is functional. How we make use of this is very important in the time we have it. This allows us to make key resources that we will need for our survival. And this is the bit that I missed in my first playthrough. And the bit that I've learned as you go through, there are certain key things that you need to make to do well. And I'll talk about them as we go through. And the tutorial guides you through some of those, but not all of them. Some of them you learn through doing and through dying. And then ultimately, this thing is going to carve out this big crater. I have, as I've played through, ended up deleting it rather than letting it blow up. Now, my experience so far, and I don't know if this is intended, when you delete it, it still blows up. So I plan around the fact that I'm going to end up with this big old crater in my colony design. So bear that in mind, folks. Now, this district center bunker, so it produces beavers for you. They can all live in it while it's there. And it can produce resources for you. So the first option you've got is to cannibalize the bunker. And you've got up here, you've got this supply of 40 nuclear fuel, and you can use that to generate things. The first one is cannibalization. And what you can do is you can cannibalize the bunker. That costs you 1 nuclear fuel. It gets you 7 copper bars, 7 iron bars, and produces some nuclear waste. Something that's very important is managing the nuclear waste. The bunker can only store 2 nuclear waste, and if that fills up, you get stuck. And the game teaches you how to deal with that, but something that's quite important is continually managing the removal of the nuclear waste. That was something that I missed in the process. And you will be using these for distribution of power and building of some key buildings. There's plastic panels. This takes in pine resin, so we need to be getting pine resin early. There's a gatherer flag for that, but that means you need to be preserving some of your pine trees, and we can't replant those. I don't think. You certainly can't be replanting them at any point in the game, early game where you're going to be needing them, and you need some of these plastic panels. So you need pine resin and the nuclear fuel, and you've got a limited amount of that to get your plastic panels. Carbon fibers. I had ignored these at many points, These are really important because you need these to build tents. And when you remove or lose the bunker where all of your beavers live, they need somewhere warm to live, like a tent. Otherwise they die of exposure. So you need to make a stockpile of these at some point while you've still got access to the bunker. Explosives. That click was intentional. Come back to the other one. We use explosives with the FrostyWhiskers to mine resources out of the ground. This is important to generate some of the resources that we need for some of these processing steps. We make explosives from fish. Don't ask me why. We just do. And fish for the FrostyWhiskers provide their food and hydration needs. Early game, we don't have to worry about water, we just fish. And then we have petroleum. That's made from trees and nuclear fuel. We mush wood and nuclear fuel together and we get petroleum and nuclear waste. There are other ways to get it in the game as we go through, which we'll come to. And that's partly used for things like heating and cooking and other stuff. I've not explored it a lot. I've been using it in the early game for heating because it's quite useful because your beavers get cold. You will see there is snow on the ground. Cold is a factor. And then the one that I skipped, nano machines. These things are really important. We are going to need a lot of these. You need them to repair your bots. You need them to build and run certain buildings. You need them to build key buildings early on. These are really important. So yeah, that's the bit that I had missed early game, and I got to one of the steps in the tutorial and it was like, you need these resources to build this thing, and I couldn't. It took me days to in game to work out how I produced them, and then I worked out, but by then I was too late. So yeah. So that's that building. It's really quite important. In terms of buildings, and the menu at the bottom. So we've got the standard tree cutting menu. In terms of planting crops, the only crop we can plant are red cabbages. I've not done that yet. I believe we do it through a farming flag. In terms of planting trees, we can plant birch trees. And I think that's the only tree we can plant. So we plant that with the forester flag. In fact, we can check here. Yes, we plant red cabbages with the farmer flag. In terms of plantable trees, we can only plant the birch tree. That means you don't want to cut down all of your pine trees because you need pine resin. Bear that in mind when you're starting out. If you cut down all of the pine trees, you will soft lock yourself out of the game. Apologies, I have to keep stopping. I have a bit of a throat thing going on today. And no, if you're new here, my voice sounds like this. That's not the throat thing I have going on. Yeah, so don't cut down all your pine trees. You will soft lock yourself out of the game. Preserve some. Use a little bit of the checkerboard pattern. This is the only save I've ever done, or type of save, where I have seriously looked at using preservation of some trees early game to keep trees spawning, because you don't have the forester building that you have. And I found getting enough science to unlock the forester flag really difficult. I'm hoping one of you watching is able to help me with my science problem. We then have the medium crystal and the large crystal. Neither of these are plantable, but these give us ice blocks, which are important. And I need to look out for large crystals because the large ice shards are something that I was looking for in my early mid game, late early game, and I wasn't sure where they came from. So standard delete tools, standard prioritization tools, these are part of automation. And then we have pathing. We have unlocked as standard stairs built with logs. We have ice slopes, so we can make these guys, or a version of these guys. In fact, those guys we have unlocked as standard platforms. Really cool, really useful. We have the double platform. We don't have a triple platform. We have an overhang. Kind of cool. Under landscaping, we have a rock wall block. I've used this a little bit. It's kind of cool. And you build it from waste rocks, which we do get a supply of from the strip mining. We have this ice block. We have an overhang. I seem to have lost some of the names for things. We have stairs. We have ice spiral stairs. And then we have a bunch of battlement type parts, which are kind of cool. What we don't have, and we have panels as well. And we have the fill valve. What we don't have are any dam pieces or anything like that. So containing water seems to be a little bit more difficult. I've not really got to the point of thinking about that yet. We then have all the flags. So we have a builder's flag, one which is bot only. Then we have a builder's flag, which is bots and beavers. We have the lumberjack flag, which we know and love. We have the fishing flag, so we can fish. We have a deep fishing flag. The difference, I assume one can go deeper. I've only used the fishing flag so far. We have the gatherer flag. This lets you gather pine resin and ice blocks from these guys. We have the scavenger flag, which we know and love. We have the farmer flag, which lets us plant and gather cabbages. We have the forester flag, which lets us plant birch trees. We have the district center flag, so that we can have a district when we lose the bunker. And we have the bad water bucket post. And I've missed one, I think. That not a flag? Maybe that was not a flag. Okay. Storages. So we have the nuclear waste storage, as I mentioned earlier. And you can just pop this guy down and they will bring nuclear waste out of the bunker and build one of these, and it lets you store an nuclear waste. And the strategy that I've employed is to find somewhere to bung a bunch of these down, put them at a above one priority build priority, and then when there's nuclear waste in the bunker, they'll go out and build it, and it just keeps the bunker free of nuclear waste and lets you keep it stored, because you will need some of this in the future. We've got small piles, large piles, and we also have a large pile. And then we've got crappy warehouses. These hold 288. They're pretty useful. We've got a small tank, unlocked as standard, holds 30. Pretty good. And we've got a medium tank, which holds 350. And then we've got some ice storages for the ice blocks that we're going to get, and some food storages, which I'm not worried about yet. We've got tents. So we've got a log shack. I've not really used this yet, but it lets you produce bugs from rotting logs. We've got a cooking tent. I've not got to using that yet. We've got a gnawing tent. This lets you produce planks and ice blocks. I have used this. It takes 5 beavers. You probably are going to want that. Got a primitive ironworks. We've got a chemistry tent. The important one, we've got a sleeping tent. And this takes nuclear waste and those carbon fibers to build, and plastic panes. So we're going to want to make sure that before we get rid of the bunker, we've got the resources to build at least a few of these. And then eventually a bot factory tent. Well, that's a big boy. And then we've got robotic buildings, because we are ultimately a bot-based colony. Now we've got a charging station, a repair station, because you can repair the bots to keep them going for longer with this. We've got a fabricator, which makes a lot of the resources that are in the bunker. We've got an auto chemistry lab, which makes some of the other resources. We've got network control towers. These are really important for keeping the bots going. Unlike the ones in normal game, the bots actually need these. We've got a small one. And we've got a large one. We've got the small machine brain. This makes science. Science is the bane of my life in this game. With this faction, you need science to run the network towers, which control the bots and keep them working. You need science to run a lot of the bot-based buildings. Without them, they won't work. And this small machine brain does not produce enough science. So this produces 1 science an hour. Something like the fabricator uses 2 science an hour. The network towers use 2 science an hour. So yeah, it's kind of a problem. And then to go up to the medium machine brain, it takes 200 science to unlock it. And then you've got the breeding pod that we know and love from the Iron Teeth. But this thing runs on fish, bad water, and nanomachines. So you need to be able to make nanomachines. But that uses science in the fabricator. In terms of power, you start out with a crappy water wheel. You'll be using this a lot. But you need plastic panes to make it. So you need to stockpile some of those. We've got normal water wheel. But that needs 200 science to unlock it. We've got the large water wheel, which is 1,000 science. We've got the large power wheel. The resources are not too egregious on this, apart from the plastic panes. We've got electric rails to connect stuff up. And the buildings aren't as universal to connect up to power as you may be used to. We've got an oil generator, which generates power off of the petroleum that we either mine or generate from the bunker. We've got a universal power rail, and we've got a graph battery. And then in terms of the excavation, we've got a geothermal vent. It looks like the one from before, but we get sulfur out of it. And I've somehow skipped that in my farmer flag, forester flag. It was a tent, I believe. Chemistry tent, primitive tent, Noreen tent. I'm sure it was. We'll get to it when we get to it. Got an oil well, so that looks like the aquifer, but is for extraction of oil. We've got strip mining, which basically uses an explosive, turns it into a block of dirt. You delete the dirt, you get resources out. We've got the dirt excavator, which lets you mine resources out of the dirt. And we've got the mine, which lets you extract nuclear waste. I missed one there. That gone. Yeah, we'll get to it. And then in terms of heat, we've got the oil lamp. There's a pump to go on top of the oil well. But for some reason I can't see that either. It's been a long day at work, folks. Again, we'll come across it as we come across it. Got the oil lamp, so this uses a little bit of petroleum, generates heat, so it removes the cold negative effect. Only 1 beaver per, but it's unlocked immediately. We've got the campfire. This uses logs, but is 100 science to unlock. 100 science might not sound like a lot, but it's a monumental amount at the moment. We've got ground heating rails, so this lets you move heat around the ground, I assume. I've never got this far. And the electric camp knot fire, electric heating thingy. And that's pretty much everything so far. There are a few bits that I've missed, but we'll get to them as we get to them. So we're going to start out following the tutorial because it's not a bad way to start. I want to make sure that we miss the explosive blast radius. So I'm just going to put in some paths. I think that was far enough. Yep. And I am going to do some bits that are not in the tutorial as well. Just based on what I've learnt from playing. So I guess you'll benefit from my knowledge. I'm not sure how much it matters where you've placed these. There is obviously a radius there. But yeah. So we're going to go into landscaping, and this is specific to this map, and it is benefiting a little bit from the fact that I've done a couple of goes on here. But yeah. So I'm going to put one lumberjack flag here, because these guys give out more ice, because these are medium crystals. I need to look out for some large crystals at some point. They're mediums, they're large crystals. Okay. So I guess eventually, oh, they do give large crystals. Large crystal shards. So they go with a lumberjack flag. Okay, awesome. All right. So put that there. We want to mark those. We want to mark those. Right, I'm going to do that, and then we're going to preserve a few trees for regrowing. I'm going to come up here and up to here. Now, apologies if this start feels a bit slow. It is genuinely quite a tricky faction to play. And I am going to be mixing in a bit of automation. So for the gatherer flag, we're going to have ready to collect greater than or equal to 1. Resume, save, duplicate, invert, save and close. Because there's going to be a while before there is any pine resin to collect up here. So we're going to do that. Flags, gather a flag, throw a couple there, and we're going to do ready to collect greater than or equal to 1. Resume, save, and we are also going to do, we can pick that up. We'll let them build those and we'll come back to that. I want to then do flag, fishing flag. And you can go there and there. I'm doing 2 fishing flags. I know, crazy, huh? And then we want to build some storages. Actually, I'm going to go here. There's, you can go there. You there. Throw in all of those, because otherwise I will forget. Let's do that. And then we want to do storage piles, large pile. You have large piles. Are you there? Yeah, let's put you there this time. Yeah, that'll be okay. You and you. And that's the first thing that I tend to run in here because it only uses nuclear fuel. Warehouses. You. And we're going to do explosives. Do those. Storage, warehouse. You do fish in there. I'm going to straighten this path out. You do that. But and I shouldn't expect it to, but the tutorial doesn't kind of hand walk you through the fact that you want to store things, and I shouldn't expect it to. But yeah, so we want a large one for rocks. I want a large one for that guy, a large one for that guy. And then we'll do a couple of small ones. We'll do one for scrap metal. And I'll do a small one for logs. And we'll do a ice block store. Is that everything I need? I'm not sure. But I need to build another lumberjack flag. Flags. Jack. You. Put you there. And we're good. So that's the first block of tutorial done. I'm going to throw down a few more builder flags because we've got 6 bots. So starting on easy, you get more bots and more beavers. So I figure we might as well start with more bots, more builder flags. I'm going to put one of the bots in the fishing because they will get cold quite quickly. The beavers will get cold quite quickly, and so it's handy to have a bot start off in there to begin the stockpiling process. And probably I'm going to put a bot in here, and I'm going to pause one of those. Because these larger ones give more ice, and I think that'll probably be useful. And I'm also going to put another one of those in and put a bot in that. And we will pause one of those. And then I want this. It's probably on something random at the moment. I want that to be on that. Now it can store a little bit inside, so it will be able to run and generate some stuff while it's sat there doing nothing. So you guys, now you're built. I'm going to come in here, put you output fishies greater than 8. You can pause, save, duplicate, invert, and we'll make that 5, save and close, and then we'll copy you, put you there. So basically if they fill up, then they'll pause. Same over here, we will go for ready to collect greater than or equal to 1. Resume, save, and then we'll also do ice blocks less than 5, save, script. We'll make that an and. Copy that, paste that, save, discard, delete, duplicate, invert, script, and let's make that a 10. Save and close, copy, and apply to that. I'm going to run the game slowly. I'm going to probably make these videos a little slower initially. And I know I said I was going to run another series for my regular viewers who may not enjoy this as much. Probably what I'll do is I'll record a couple of these back to back. I just don't want to make this like a 2-hour video because I know not everyone will sit through a 2-hour video. So probably what I'll do is I'll record a couple of them back to back so that we can get a bit done. We've got an unemployed bot and you're empty, so let's put a bot in there for now. Make use of the resources that we have. And there is a fair bit of just managing everything at the start. What are we working on? Builders. Are you building the ice stairs up to there? That's okay, because then they can cut down those trees as well. It would be really nice if now, so if we look in here now, we've got that full, so we could really do with them building those two stores. I'm going to prioritize them in the hope that they do that, because then they can empty these out. That would be good. So we now want to place the oil well and the geothermal vent extractor. So this guy I'm going to place here. And this guy I'm going to place down here. Let's go for about here. And it says to deprioritize them so that they're done later because they use explosives. So we're going to continue. And now we're going to do some strip mining. And on this map, my preference has been to do the strip mining over here. That's not strip mining, that's strip mining. It says to place 5. And it really literally just wants you to place 5. Now, if you don't click continue at this point, and it does the strip mining, it'll go backwards. It doesn't latch. So I'm going to click continue. And I'm then going to let them do the strip mining because the strip mining is quite useful. And the next step is to build a crappy water wheel, build a small machine brain, and to place 5 nuclear wastes. Now, if you're more alert than I was when I was playing this over the weekend, the hint around the 5 nuclear wastes is that to get the bits that you need to make the components for these guys, it's pulling nuclear waste out of here. So yeah, I guess the hints are there. I maybe just wasn't being bright enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. We're going to go into power. We're going to grab our crappy power wheel. We're going to find something you may have noticed. We have bad water flowing, not water. It seems that we our bots love bad water. We only get bad water cycles, as far as I've noticed. Right, power. You might also notice that the thumbnail looks different to this colony because I've used my previous one as a thumbnail. So we're going to do here. Yeah, why not? I'm actually going to put down 2. And then we're going to go into robot buildings. We're going to get the machine brain. So if we look at this guy, I'm going to place it paused because I'm going to move it. But if we get the power connection, you'll see that it only has power connections in 2 places. I learned this the hard way the first time I built it. So we're going to put that there so that it gets connected up to where we want it. I'm then going to come in here. We're going to grab some platforms because I want to connect across to here eventually. And And I also want to do some stuff with redirecting the water a little bit. So we're going to come in here. So something else that I noticed, and I'm going to do a little bit of a test out here to double check this. If you do that, because I didn't really test it super thoroughly. Power. Yeah, there's no power connection here. I think because the hub turns it into electricity. So you can't do this and get joined up power across them like you can on a normal Timberborn game. Again, I learnt that the hard way. But what I am going to do is kind of that to try and increase the flow through the water wheels. But that's a lower priority task. So the thing we need to do now is we need to build nano machines and plastic panels. So we need the resources for that. So the plastic panels, if you remember, need pine resin. We don't have any pine resin yet because this guy is paused, so there's no pine resin available to collect. The nano machines need, apart from nuclear fuel, they all need nuclear fuel. Our limited stock of nuclear fuel limits how fast we can progress with the bunker, even if you're super efficient. Because I've not found a way that's available easily early game to make nuclear fuel. If you're aware of a way of doing that, please let me know, because I've got to the point twice now where I've run out of nuclear fuel. And maybe I'll notice that as I go through anyway. But we need copper nuggets, scrap metal, and gold nuggets. And we need to make 150, I think it's 150 nano machines to make our machine brain. To make one, there's a point there because we're going to need more than one. And there's a bunch of other buildings we are going to need that need these machine brains. So we need to make a lot of nano machines, which reminds me that's one of the storages that I didn't put down. You can store nano machines in a warehouse. So how do we get the resources to make all these things? So while we wait to make the carbon fiber tubes, which we should also put down a storage for, or carbon fibers. So I'm going to leave this for now on that. And we are going to prioritize both of those. You will respect my prioritize. So to get the resource for the nano machines, predominantly that comes from strip mining. And we need to do quite a lot of strip mining. We've got 300 explosives, so we're in a pretty good place. One of the other benefits of starting on easy is I think you get a lot more explosives. But we do now need to also get all of our buildings built. So, you know, it's a thing, folks. It's a thing. We've got a couple of spare beavers, so I think I'm going to grab one of those and throw a beaver in there and get that built as well. That's all the explosives. Yeah. Delete. Because we need the ice blocks to build the warehouses so that they can pick these up and then put them in the thingies. We are going to want plenty of the copper and iron bars, so it's not really a problem that they're running. We will want those in the future anyway. But we do want to crack on with the other bits as well as soon as we can. So, and I have noticed that different maps have the trees in different states when you start. So, you know, depending on the map that you play on, you will have different luck with pine resin. I think one of the other maps that I played on had pine resin right at the start. You know, depending on which map you play on, you'll have a different starting scenario. You guys know, well, you may not know me. You may be new here. I dislike change, and so I'm going with what I know for the start, because I'm hoping that way I can give you a better impression of what this mod is like, because I'm not battling the unknown as well as the unknown of a new mod. So we're going to now switch to Nanomachina while we wait for the pine resin to come in. Where are we on that? 30%, 30%, 30%. I'm spotting a trend, folks. We are some way off of the pine resin, which is fine. It's fine. We are going to keep strip mining. We need to do a fair bit of that. We need to stockpile the nano machines. So, you know, we'll keep going with that. And maybe I'll stop once we get the first bit of get the brain built, maybe. Have we got the first lot of nano machines going? Or scrap metal? No. Oh, we've got 40 nano machines. Okay. So we need more. And one of the reasons that I've put in the bridge to be built is to get us access to scrap metal. So if we look over here, there is scrap metal, because the ratio of scrap metal to everything else seems a little bit off to me. So in the long term, if we can get to the scrap metal, we'll be good. I'm sure did I deprioritize? Yeah, I did. No, I didn't deprioritize you, because you are not super urgent. Yeah, more important things to do. Even if it's building bridges. Building bridges is important, folks. So you may be concerned, worried that I'm digging out an overhang, but it's fine. We have the we're producing a bunch of excess rock, which we can use to build supports for the mining that we're doing, which I think is, I don't know if that's intended, but I think it's really cool. So yeah, it's how I have been doing things. So we're now going to adjust the automation of this. So bosh. We're going to go if district stock of fishes is greater than, let's go 50, pause, save, duplicate, invert, script, 30, save and close, copy, bosh. Okay, so that's that tidied up. We still have 3 spare beavers. So I think probably the smart thing to do is to throw another lumberjack up here and start getting some logs cut down. And maybe what we do is bring over an lumberjack here. Do you need to be marked to get the large crystals? I don't know. Actually, no, we'll leave you. Yeah. So I think what we do now is pause you, switch you back to bots, and ready to collect greater than or equal to 1, resume, save, duplicate, invert, save, copy, wash, cool. I didn't prioritize it. Always be strip mining, folks. Always be strip mining. Because we want this thing to be running. And currently it is not running. So yeah. That's one of the benefits of playing slightly slower, I guess. The other thing we could put in is a normal builder flag or two. And we'll make those low priority. And that basically means if we've got spare beavers, they'll help out with the building. Not put that. Okay. Right. Sorry, I'm kind of talking quietly, and that's bad when you make YouTube videos. I thought I'd put the strip mining all the way along there, and I hadn't. So let's do that. And then probably what we want to do is come in with the landscaping, and we're going to grab some of the rock and chuck that there, just as a support, because if you are new to the game, you can only have a maximum overhang of 3. And so using those rocks for that is a really nice way of dealing with that. Right, let's make you beaver. You are beaver as well. Cool. We're up to 6 beavers now. Which is good. So if I wanted, I'm just trying to remind myself, I'm just going to pause for a sec. I wanted to make the carbon fibers. I've got enough logs, so I could do that now. And I've got the storage lined up, so let's do that while we can. And in the meantime, we can then be stockpiling stuff. That feels like a good idea. I did say I was going to go until I've got the brain done, but I might not bother. And I think this time, last time I did 40. I'm going to do 60 this time. Hopefully I don't regret that. Hopefully I don't regret that. One more lot of logs, please. These logs. Awesome. Bosh. I've done 80. Okay. Back to nano machines, please. Just let me build a few more tents. Have we got any? Nope. Not got any pine resin yet, which is a bit annoying. That we are still good. So Bosch. Let's get all of that picked up. Let's get that made. They're getting that made, which is awesome because we can soon get across to the scrap metal. They're all highlighted. So strip mining, we're going to come over here and we're going to rip that out to make space for more nuclear waste. Nano machining. Oh no, we've done that. Awesome. The brains. We want to be stockpiling nano machines anyway. As I said, 3 of these is borderline enough to be functionally useful. So yeah. We are just going to continue with the strip mining under here. We'll get that in, which is good. And because I know, because I've done this a few times, I am going to progress. So the next thing we want to place down is a charger. So that has power connections on the corners, as you can see. So if I put this here, that should connect up. Let's just pause and check, shall we? Because we don't want to be foolishly overconfident. So we've got there, there, and there. So delete that. So we can put that there, and that has a power connection. What we want to do is put that in there, and that will connect all 3 up. The other thing that we need is a network tower, and learning from my mistakes, I'm going to put this kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Previously I built it here, and you're wasting network coverage. And we're going to have to run a power connection to it. But I'm going to put it here and then run power out to here. Just because otherwise you're wasting the coverage that it provides. We do still have the problem that currently we don't have pine resin. So, you know, we are currently a little bit soft locked on our ability to make progress. But that's okay. We still have 8 days left. Oh, that's so annoying. I really need that explosives. Bear with me a second, folks. Wonder if I can send this back down to the ground. Yes. Thought they'd done all the strip mining. Obviously not. How are we doing for nano machines? We'll keep going on the nano machine front. So that's in. So what we can do now is come all the way over here. So run a path to here. Stairs. Bosch. And then do flags, scrap metal flag, bosh. Get that in, because scrap metal is an issue for doing this stuff. We've got enough of the other resources. Yeah, we start mining scrap metal, we'll be golden for increasing our ability to produce nanomachines. And we've got some spare bots again, so spare beavers again. So I think we're going to throw in a couple more builder flags, and we're also going to throw in a lumberjack flag over here. Cut trees. You and you. That'll be good. No. When we get there, we'll have faster flowing water now. When we get there, we still need pine resin. We are on day 6, so, you know. Okay, what we could do is, because we do have some spare beavers, can we? I think actually it needs plastic panels. Yeah, we still need plastic panels for that as well. But building a large power wheel is not a bad idea. Any of these, they're close to producing pine resin as well. So I'm going to throw in a gatherer flag here. You are going to prioritize pine resin. You will respect my prioritar. Copy. Ash, because pine resin is kind of holding us back at the moment. So you are a high priority workplace and a high priority build. Get it done, boy. Get it done. Hoping that they can go over the power connection and get to that. And here we go on the pine resin, maybe. You're a... Have I got 2 carbon fiber stores? I have. So you are going to change to be pine resin. I know what I'm doing. Honest. So I think we need 20 pine resin for... See, the 10 or 20 pine resin for the thingies. Technical term. You know me and my technical terms. So we should very shortly plastic panels. It's 20. We're pretty much there. So we'll start cranking out plastic panels now. You can be paused because I don't think we need you yet. We have got 130 nano machines made, which is quite nice. Let's delete you. You. Trying to click on the flag, not the bot. Okay, so we need to deal with all of you. So I think I'll manually pause those for now. They can still get to that. Cool. Good stuff. Come on. Come on. Bring me my plastic panels. That's one running. So that's that done. So next we need to build a small control tower and a small charge. Look at that. I've done it. So next we need to build a fabricator and a repair station. And that, folks, is a job for next time. As the beavers go to sleep on day 6, I hope you've enjoyed this. It is a really cool faction. The next video in this series should be out tomorrow, assuming I sit and record it. As soon as I finish recording this, if you've played with this faction and you have tips on anything to do with it, please leave them down below. I am not at all an expert on this. I am going to stumble my way through the next video, and I really, really look forward to you telling me how to do it better. It's really cool. It's really intrigued me. Getting to be able to get to the point where I think I can survive has frustrated me, but captured my brain. It made my brain itch yesterday, in a good way. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed it, please interact with the video, because it helps me out with the almighty algorithm. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. If you voted in the poll and you voted for the other option, then I am sorry. I didn't actually check the results of the poll before I recorded this. When I looked yesterday, the results were just about in favor of this, but given the results were fairly indecisive, I figured this would be fun. And ultimately, I try to make videos that are fun and interesting, and this faction to me was fairly interesting. But I am going to start within the next few days a more normal Timberborn series for those of you that don't enjoy the more different stuff. Anyway, see ya.